Top 10 spectacular closing lap crashes in F1. Automobile crashes cannot be entirely overruled from Formula 1, but it is much avoided by teams and drivers. Crashes are always heartbreaking, especially when the crash happens in the closing laps of any race, and in 2001, Mika Hakkinen suffered a dramatic retirement from Formula 1, retiring on the last lap of the Spanish Grand Prix in Barcelona. Over the years, unprecedented crashes have changed the direction of the race for both the crashed driver and other drivers on track. Now, let's revisit some of the most spectacular final lap crashes in Formula 1. (1970) Monaco GP. In the 1970 Monaco GP, Jack Brabham lost to Jochen Rindt, who capitalized on a last-bend error by Brabham. Brabham had led Rindt by 14 seconds with 10 laps left, but was a second ahead when he braked too hard on the final bend and slid into the barricades. On the twisty streets of Monte Carlo, Brabham was almost impossible to pass until his uncharacteristic error. 1991 Canadian GP. When the lights went green, Mansell raced ahead of Patrese and led into Turn 1, quickly pulling away, determined to never look back and to finally get his championship challenge underway. After 68 flawless laps, Mansell, in total control and enjoying a comfortable lead, suddenly decelerated with a few hundred yards from the finish, and to the astonishment of the driver, crowd and every other person. 1982 Monaco Grand Prix. It seemed as though nobody fancied winning the Grand Prix, and with 3 laps remaining and rain starting to fall, Alain Prost spun out from the lead, crashing against the barriers and handing the lead to Riccardo Patrese, only for the Italian to spin as well 1 lap later. That left Didier Pironi in the lead, but his car would run out of fuel on the final lap. Andrea De Cesaris would have inherited the lead, but had also run out of fuel, and Derek Daly, the next man down the road, had just retired with a gearbox failure. 1997 Hungarian Grand Prix. Owing to a unique mix of tyre complications, multiple retirements and brilliance from Hill, he found himself in a comfortable lead for most of the race in Hungary 1997. But just a couple of laps away from Arrow's first ever victory, his hydraulic pump failed and Hill was agonizingly passed by Villeneuve on the final turn. 2001 Spanish Grand Prix. Midway around Barcelona's uphill Turn 3, Mika Hakkinen's McLaren Mercedes MP416 suddenly lost drive, caused by a hydraulic leak leading to clutch failure. For several agonizing seconds, he freewheeled on in vain, desperately trying to breathe life back into his ailing machine as Schumacher's Ferrari grew ever closer. 2005 European Grand Prix. Fernando Alonso kept Kimi Raikkonen under pressure throughout the European Grand Prix and capitalized at the last possible moment when Raikkonen's suspension shattered and pitched the fin into the barriers. Kimi was trying to win the race without one tire, managing the damaged tire and its vibrations till a few seconds to go. The tires pulled out due to the vibrations, leaving Kimi devastated and distraught. 2016 Austrian Grand Prix. Then Silver Arrow's teammates Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg clashed on the final lap in Australia 2001 after Rosberg tried to force Hamilton wide but went too far, damaging his front wing and limping home in 4th place with a 10-second penalty for good measure. Rosberg would go on to eventually claim the championship nonetheless after another costly engine failure for Hamilton late in the season. 2008 Brazilian Grand Prix. Felipe Massa was en route to win the championship, however, because Timo Glock had not stopped for wet tyres, Hamilton passed him on the final corner of the final lap of the final race to reclaim a crucial position that won him the championship, leaving Massa a world champion for only a few minutes. 2015 Russian Grand Prix. Kimi Raikkonen and Valtteri Bottas struggled to gain 3rd pole position in the 2015 Russian GP, but on the final lap the drivers pushing hard against each other crashed. Kimi forced Bottas wide after he sought to overtake from the outside and ultimately hit the barriers, ending his race. Kimi also sustained damages, and Sergio Perez, who held position behind both drivers, secured 3rd in the race. 2009 Italian GP. Lewis Hamilton still drove for McLaren and was set to gain pole position when he crashed on the final lap of the Italian Grand Prix. He was in a stoic mood after the crash, having been 3rd behind the bronze of Rubens Barrichello and Jenson Button. At the first Lesme corner, Hamilton hit the curved wall at the 2nd corner and lost pole position. If you enjoyed the video, like and share the video with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe and ring the notification bell to stay tuned.